Hi, amazing soul buddies. You're welcome back again to this YouTube channel. And if you're new here, you're highly welcome. It's Whitney IY here, and in this video we're going to be making this beautiful short that has elastic band at the waist, and also it has pockets as well. So if this is something you're interested in, then do well and keep watching. And also I paired this beautiful short with this beautiful vest or waistcoat that you're seeing on the video. So if you also want to know how to make a waistcoat or a vest, then the link to that video will be on the comment section. I'll pin it on the comment section. So without boring you with much talk, let's dive right into the making of the shorts. So I'm making use of this thick crepe material, and I'm making use of 1 yard from this for making the shorts. Yeah, so 1 yard would be enough for me, but if you're a plus size you might need about 1.5 yards or 2 yards. I'll also be making use of this wide elastic. If you have an elastic that is wider than this, you can make use of that. So right now I've folded my fabric into two, as you can see, and this is the wrong side facing us right now. So this fabric is folded into two, as you can see. So I'm going to be drafting on this fabric. Now the first step in drafting a short is to determine how wide you want your band to be, your waistband to be. Now your waistband can be 1 inch wide, 1.5 inch wide, 2 inches wide. It all depends on how wide you want it to be. So for me, I want my waistband to be 1.5 inch wide. So when I'm placing my tape, I'm going to place it at the top of the fabric from the 1.5, meaning that 1.5 up is for the waistband. I hope you understand. So from there, I'm marking out the hip line, which is 8 inches for me. So you can see the way I'm placing my tape. So if your waistband, if you want it to be 2 inches wide, meaning you place your tape 2 inches at the beginning of the fabric like this, and you mark out your hip line. So this is how I'm going to be placing my tape while marking out all the horizontal line. I hope you understand. So I've marked out the hip line, which is 8 inches. Yeah, so this is what I'm marking out. So your hip line can be 9 inches if you're a very tall person, if you're a tall person. So that is it. So I've marked out the hip line, and this is the hip line. Let me just write it out so you'd see. Now that I've marked out the hip line, the next step is to mark out the crotch depth or the crotch line. Now to get your crotch depth or your crotch line, all you have to do is to divide your hip measurement by 4 plus 1.5. So my round hip measurement is 40.5 divided by 4 plus 1.5 gives me 11.6 inches, and that is what I am marking out, 11.6 inches. And obviously you can see the way I'm placing my tape, making sure that the wideness of my waistband, which is 1.5, that is where my tape measurement is starting from, while marking out this crotch depth or crotch line. So 11.6, and that is what I'm marking out. So go ahead and calculate for your crotch depth, and then mark it out while placing your tape like this. You understand, right? So I'll go ahead and bring in my rule and connect the dots to get a straight line like so. So this is the crotch depth or the crotch line. Now that I have the crotch line, the next step is to go ahead and mark out the tie line. Now, from your crotch depth, you come down by 4 inches. That is, from your crotch line, you come down by 4 inches. This is a standard number for getting your tie line, you get. So you go ahead and come down by 4 inches from your crotch depth or your crotch line, and then you go ahead and bring in your rule and connect all the dots to get a straight line like this. And this line is the tie line. Right now, it's time to mark out how short or how long you want the short to be. So for me, I want the short to be 17 inches long. So I'm going to also go ahead and place my tape like this. Please take note of this. Do not forget this part. So I'm marking out 17 inches, which is how long I want this short to be. And that is what I'm marking out, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and, bring in my rule and connect this to get a straight line as well. So this is where I want the short to stop on my body. You understand? So you can go ahead and measure from your waist to wherever you want the short to stop. So next is to mark out 2 inches from the short length. This 2 inches is for the allowance, the aiming allowance rather. Yeah. the 2 inches is for the aiming allowance. So I'm marking out 2 inches from this short length or short length. Let me just refer to it as that, short length. So I marked out 2 inches from the short length, and I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line. So this space is just for aiming allowance. Please take note. So right now that I have all of this line, I'm going to divide my round hip measurement by 4. So my round hip measurement is 40.5 divided by 4 gives me 10.1, and I will mark this out on the hip line and also on the crotch line and on the waistline, while adding 1 inch for sewing allowance like this. So I'm marking out the 10.1 inch on the crotch line as well, and I'm adding 1 inch for sewing allowance, and I'll also do the same thing on the waistline as well, and also add 1 inch for sewing allowance. So it was at this point that I realized that this fabric had a lot of vents. As you can see, it has a lot of dents scattered all over it, and I just could not continue drafting directly on the fabric. So I had to bring in my pattern paper and draft on my pattern paper. This way I can avoid making the dents on the fabric be on the front fabric. Rather, I might use it as the lining for my vest. So I had to transfer all the measurements to a pattern paper, as you can see. So you can continue drafting on your fabric, please take note of that. But this, I just have to do it to avoid my fabric having all these dents at the short or at the front. It's it doesn't look good. So that's the reason for that. So you can see I have my hip line, my crotch depth, my tie line, my short length, and the 2 inches for the allowance. So exactly what we have drafted out on the fabric is what we have right here on the pattern paper. So this is me repeating the whole, dividing my round hip measurement by 4 and adding 1 inch for sewing allowance, and placing this on the hip line, the crotch depth, and also on the waistline. That is exactly what we did on the fabric. So I just had to use my pattern paper because of the dents scattered all over the fabric, as you saw on that previous video. So right now I'll bring in my rule and connect the marking on the crotch line to the hip line to the waistline to get a straight line like this. So after doing this, the next step is to go ahead and mark out your crotch extension. So I'm just going to extend this line on the crotch depth further like this. Now, to get your crotch extension, you have to calculate for it. You don't just assume. You have to calculate for it so that your short does not end up dragging into your pom-pom. So there is this unique formula I discovered for calculating for a perfect crotch extension. Now, the formula to get the front crotch extension is the hip measurement you've already marked out on your pattern paper plus the 1 inch seam allowance divided by 4 plus 0.19. So I'm going to use my measurement as an example. So the hip measurement I marked out on this pattern paper is 10.125, right? Plus this 1 inch seam allowance that I marked out here divided by 4 plus 0.19 gives me 2.9 inches, right? So to mark out this 2.9, I'm going to place my tape on this straight line here on the crotch line and mark out the 2.9 inches I just got for my front crotch extension. Are you seeing it? So you place your tape on the straight line and mark out your crotch extension results. So right now, I'll bring in my curve rule to connect this 2.9 inches that I just marked out on the crotch line back to the straight line like this to give me that nice curve. So if you don't have a curve rule, you can make use of your hands to just connect it. Just make sure you get a nice curve while connecting the front crotch extension to the straight line. So you can see what I have here. Now, if you want your shorts to be tight around your lap, which is your tie, you have to divide your round tie measurement by 2. So my round tie measurement is 25. Divided by 2 gives me 12.5, and that is what I've marked out. And I added 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I'm also going to connect this to the crotch extension like this. Now, I'll repeat this same measurement, which is the 12.5 inches that I got for the round tie. I'll repeat this on the short length like this, add the 1 inch for sewing allowance, also do the same thing on the aiming line, has also had 1 inch for sewing allowance, and you connect like this. But for me, I don't want the shorts to be tight around my thigh. I want some form of freeness around the thigh. So what I will do, from the crotch extension, I'm just going to go ahead and connect straight down. So if you want it tight, then, measure your round thigh measurements, mark it out on your short length, your aiming line, and just, connect. But for me, I want it to be free around my lap. I don't want a tight shirt. I want it free. So I'm just going to connect from the crotch extension straight down to the aiming line, the allowance line. So I hope you understand. So this is it. That is just the simple logic to having a tight short or a free short. And most times, most people go for free short that is free around the thigh. So you can just connect straight from the crotch extension, rule a straight line down from the crotch extension to the allowance line. So that is that for that. So right now the front pattern is completed, so it's time to cut out this pattern. So if you also did this on your fabric, go ahead and cut it out as well. So I'll bring in my scissors and cut. So this is the front pattern. Now it's time to draft out the back pattern. So I'm going to bring in a new piece of pattern paper like this, and the first step is I'm going to mark 3 inches from the beginning of the pattern paper like this. You're going to come down by 3 inches here. Yes, from the beginning of the pattern paper. So even if this is a fabric, this is what I will still go ahead and do on the fabric when drafting out the back pattern. So I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line like this. Now, after drawing the straight line, I'm going to bring in my front pattern paper, and while placing it, I'm going to place it starting from this 3 inches line that I marked out, and I'll bring in my pin to hold it in place to secure it so the pattern paper does not start shifting up and down and disrupting my drafting. So I'm going to bring in my pin to hold it in place. So make sure you place it correctly. You can see the way my pattern front pattern is placed on the back pattern, right? So this is me using my pin to hold it in place, to secure it in place. So right now it's time to calculate for the back crotch extension, and the formula for that is the hip measurement you've already marked out on your pattern paper plus the seam allowance you used divided by 2 minus 0.38. And as usual, I'm going to use my own measurement as an example. So the hip measurement I marked out on my pattern paper is 10.125, right? Plus the 1 inch I used for the seam allowance divided by 2 minus 0.38 gave me 5.1 inches. So when I'm marking this down, I'm going to make sure I place my tape on this straight line to mark out the 5.1 inches like this here. So after marking it out on the crotch line, please, you're marking this on the crotch line. So I'll go ahead and extend this line to meet up with the 5.1 inch that I marked out. I hope you understand. Now, because this is a back pattern and usually back patterns are bigger than front patterns, so I'll be adding 2 inches allowance here, 2 inches allowance here like this. I'll just be adding 2 inches. Please watch. So I had 2 inches allowance here as well. So 2 inches. I'm just making sure 2 inches here, 2 inches here. Because this paper, it seems the front paper, moved a bit, so I'm trying to arrange it. So 2 inches here, and also 2 inches on this part as well. 2 inches on this part, 2 inches here as well. This is simply because the back pattern of a short or of a pant trouser is bigger than the front pattern. So the reason for this. So I'll just extend this this line here, and then I'm going to connect all those dots like this. Please watch. I'll connect them like this, and I'm going to go ahead and just curve this, the crotch extension, curve it into the 2 inches allowance that I left like this. So this is just me, connecting. So now that I have this, I'm just blending this part up. So make sure you have a nice curve. So you can see what I have now. So right now my back pattern is almost completed. So the next step you would want to take, because of the bum at the back, you have to go up from the waistline on your center back by 1.5 inches. If the bum is very big, then go up by 2 inches. But for me, I have a moderate bum an average bum. So I went up by 1.5 inch from the waistline at the center back, and I will extend this line to meet up with the 1.5 inch. So right now, go ahead and measure what I have on the waist here, from this point to this point of the waistline on the front pattern, like this. Remember, this is the front pattern, so you measure what you have on the waist, and here I have 11.1 inch, as you can see. So I'm going to bring in my tape and I'm going to place it in a slanted position like this from the extended line to the waistline of the front pattern, and I'll mark out the 11.1 inch that I measured out for the front waist. You get, so whatever you measured out from, please measure severally to be certain you have the exact number. So whatever you measured out from the front waist on the front pattern is what you're going to mark out on the back pattern like this, and then you go ahead and connect like this with your roll. So you see you have the slanted line. So next you mark out your hip line on the back pattern. As you can see, you mark it out on the back pattern like this, and you're going to connect from this waistline on the back pattern to the hip line like this. So at this point, your back pattern is also ready. So it's time to cut out the back pattern as well. So I'll bring in my scissors and cut. Please watch out, this is being cut out. So I also cut out the waist here and also cut out the hip line, and I'm going to use this to cut out the fabric. Yeah, so this is it. So if I were to draft on the fabric, this is exactly what I will have as well. So I'm just going to give this part where the aiming allowance start from, I'm going to give it a little snip. Yes, just little snips. Yes, I will do the same thing on the back pattern. Mark out the 2 inches for the aiming allowance like this, and also give it little snips. This makes work easier for you when you're sewing it. Very little snip, very little cut. Yes, that is not even up to 0.25 inch, very little. So this just helps indicate, okay, this is where the aiming allowance starts from. So right now I'm going to remove the back pattern and I'm going to aim the down. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So there are various ways to aim your shot. The method I use most times is, since I've already snipped where my aiming allowance starts from, it's just for me to go over and fold it like this, folding the 2 inches. You get, so you can go ahead and weave this edge here, or if you don't have the opportunity to weave, you can go ahead and iron in 1/2 inch like this. Are you seeing it? Then after doing that, you bring in your aiming gum like this. So if you're opportune to get the stronger aiming gum that glues your fabric stronger, then no problem, you place it like this, and then with the 1/2 inch folded in, you iron, and that is it. No need for stitching down, and it gives a beautiful look. But if you also want to stitch it down after doing this, no problem, you can go ahead and do that. If you weaved the edge, then there's no need for you folding in 1/2 inch. So I'll go ahead and do that on the back pattern and on the front fabric as well, and I'll come back and show you after aiming the down. So I'll go ahead and do that and show you guys. So guys, this is the back pattern, and as you can see, I have aimed the down. As you can see, it's looking all beautiful, right? So I'll go ahead and bring one out of the back pattern. So if you do not want to add a pocket, then this is what you just have to do. So I'm just going to indicate back pattern. So if you don't have a pocket, you go ahead and bring in the back pattern and also bring in one piece of the front pattern as well, like this. And you're going to place it right sides facing each other like this. The right side should be facing each other, and you go ahead and close up the side seam using 1/2 inch like this, and you also close up the side seam on this part using 1/2 inch. That is if you don't want to add a pocket. You can see I also aimed the down of the front pattern. So if you don't want to add a pocket, this is what you do. But for those that want pockets on their short, then this is what you have to do. You bring in your front patterns and you place them together with the right sides facing each other like this, You bring in your front patterns, place them together like this, arrange them properly please, and then you're going from the side here at the waist by 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches here, and then you're going to come down here from the waist by 5.5 inches here, and you're going to connect this 2.5 to the 5.5 using the straight part of your rule like this. Yeah, and then you go ahead and cut this out with your scissors like this. So next I'm going to cut out the piece I'll be using for the pocket. So this is what I cut out, and I cut it out on fold like this. And the measurement I made use of is for the width I made it 7 inches, as you can see, and for the length I made it 10 inches. Now an ideal pocket length for a female is 12 inches, but because this is a short, you can make it 10 or 11 inches. But if it is a long pant, make it 12 inches. That is the ideal length for a female pocket. So I also did the same thing on another piece as well. I have two like this, so you can see this part is on fold. So what I'm going to do is, on this part that is on fold, I've placed it two pieces together. So on this part that is on fold, I'm just going to curve it like this. If you don't want a curve on your pocket, no problem, you can leave it straight, but for me I want a curve, so I'm just going to curve it with the part of my curve rule and make sure I place both pieces together, and I'll go ahead and cut this out. You know it's two pockets, so the reason for the two piece, so I'll cut this out. So after cutting this out, I'll go ahead and open up the side here. So at this point I'll be having 4 of this piece, 2 for one of the pockets, 2 for the other pocket as well. So I'll go ahead and bring out one of this. Yeah, so please watch, just please watch, and I'll bring in one of the front patterns like this, and then I'm going to place it with the wrong sides facing each other. That is, the wrong side of the piece should be facing the wrong side of the front pattern. And then I'm going to trace out this side of the front pattern on that piece of fabric, on the pocket piece rather. So I'll trace it out like this, and I'm going to bring in my scissors to cut it out like this. So whatever I'm doing on this front side of the front pattern is what I'll do on the other side of the front pattern as well, you get, in creating the pockets. So after doing that, the next step is to go ahead and bring out the piece, this piece, bring it out and place it like this with the right sides facing each other. That is, the right side of the pockets piece should face the right side of the front pattern, and I'm going to use my pin to secure this slanted part at the side, and I'm going to sew it with 1/2 inch. So as you can see, I have joined it with 1/2 inch. So I'll go ahead and turn this over to the wrong side like this, and then I'm going to bring in the other piece as well, that is this other piece. And when placing it, I'm going to place it like this with the right side facing the right side of the other pocket piece, and you should have something like this. So you can see what I have here. So you can see the right side of this piece is facing the right side of this other pocket piece. So I'll place it like this, and what I'm going to do right now is I am going to stitch it up on the side here to the front pattern and stitch it up to the waist of the front pattern. So make sure you place it well, and after doing that, I'll close up these two pocket piece at the side using 1/2 inch here, because you don't want your money to fall out from your pocket, so you have to close it up using 1/2 inch. So close up the side, close up the waist, and close up the two pocket piece together, seal it up using 1/2 inch allowance. So after doing that, I'll come back and show you guys. So this is what you should have once you're done. So guys, I've closed there up. As you can see, the pocket is ready. So what I did here is what I also did on the other side of the front pattern. So you can see the wrong side. You can see I've closed it up here using 1/2 inch, and I've closed up the side and also the waist. So I've stitched it up to the front fabric. So right now I'm going to bring in the back pattern, one piece of the back pattern, and I'll place it with the right sides facing each other. That is, the right side of the back pattern should face the right side of the front pattern, and I'm going to close up the side same with 1/2 inch, and I'll also close up this side of the short, that is the crotch side, with 1/2 inch as well. So this is it. I've closed it up, and I did the same thing on the other pair of the short as well. So right now it's time to join the other pair to this pair, so I'll bring it in and this is what we have. So I'll make sure that that pair is on the wrong side, and I'm going to put this other pair in like this. Please just watch. So this way it's the right sides facing each other. So I'm just going to bring it in like this. You can see what we have here. So I'll just place it well like this. Just going to arrange it. So you can see the right sides are facing each other, making the back patterns together and the front patterns are together. So you can see right sides are facing each other. The front pattern to the front pattern here, the back pattern to the back pattern as well. So right now it's time to close up the crotch. So you go ahead and place it together like this and close it up using 1/2 inch as well. You close it up using 1/2 inch. Now on the side, you can go ahead and close up the waist with 1 inch, the hip with 0.6 inch, and then the crotch down with 1/2 inch on the side. Then for this crotch, you close it up with 1/2 inch, making sure that this stitch are together. You get, so that is how I close up my side. I use 1 inch for closing up the side of the waist, 0.6 for closing up the hip, and 1/2 inch for closing up from the crotch down. You get. So you can see I have joined the two part of the pants together, the two parts of the shorts together rather, and this is what I have. So you can see it's time to attach a band to the waist. So I've cut out a long piece of fabric, as you can see, and this is what I'm using as the waistband. So for the length, since my round hip measurement is 40.5, I added about 2 inches to it, making it 42 inches. You can add 5 inches to it to mark out the length. You get, so 42.5 inches, 42.5 inches. That is how long I made this waistband. And for cutting out the width, I just folded the fabric into two like this. And since the waistband, remember my waistband, I said I wanted it 1.5 inches wide, so I added 1/2 inch to it for sewing allowance, making it 2 inches. So when cutting this out on fold, I marked out 2 inches. So if your band, if you want it 2 inches wide, then you had 1/2 inch for sewing allowance to make it 2.5 inches that you cut out on fold. So when you open it, you have 4 inches, right? So right now it's time to attach it. So I'm going to bring in the band and I'm going to fold it like this with the right side facing me. I'll fold it like this with the right sides facing me, more of like fold it with the wrong side inside. So I'm going to place it on the waist of the short like this, leaving out 1 inch, and I'm going to use my pin to hold it like this. So I'm going to start from the side of the short this way. I'm starting from the side of the short because you don't want people to see how you closed up the waistband on the front or on the center back. Yeah, so it has to be on the side. So I'll place it like this, leaving out 1 inch before starting with placing the waistband on the waist of the short. And I'm going to close this up with 1/2 inch. Yes, I'm attaching the waistband to the short with 1/2 inch. So you can see the way I'm placing it. So this is one way of also placing your waistband to your shirt. I think I've also taught another method of placing your waistband to your pants, your trouser, to your shorts and all of that. So this is another method, and this is even way more easier. So you place it. The only thing with this one is you have to go and weave, do an inner weaving on the stitch on the wrong side. Yes. So I'll go ahead and close it up using 1/2 inch like this, and once I'm done, I'll come back and show you guys. So I have sewn the waistband to the shirt, and I'll go ahead and weave this part. Make sure you weave it once you're done. Weave, 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 weave. And you can see I have joined it all round using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So right now it's time to put in the elastic waistband. So in measuring out the elastic waistband, there is really no specific formula to use, but what I do that normally works for me is I divide the round hip measurement by 2, and then I add about 3 or 4 inches, 5 inches maximum, depending on how elastic it is. So for this waistband, it is quite elastic and it is 1 inch wide. So when cutting it out, I divided my round hip measurement by 2, which is 40.5 divided by 2 gives me 20.25 plus 3 inches. So that is I just made it a round figure, 23 inches, right? As you can see, 23 inches. So that works for me. That's how I cut out my waistband. It works for me and for my clients. So yeah. So in fixing this in, I'm going to fix it in through the waistband on the side here, and I'm going to bring in this pin. Yeah, so this pin is an air pin. It's for air, so I'm just going to put it in, chuck it inside the waistband, inside the elastic, and then, you know, start passing it through the waistband like this till I get to the other end of the waistband like this. And then once I get to the other end, I'm going to, you know, make sure I use the air pin to secure both elastic bands. So you see what I did here. So now I'm going to push the elastic band to the wrong side, and I'm going to close up the waistband and the elastic band using 1 inch or half an inch. So I'll make sure the stitch align with the stitch on the short while closing up the waistband. Please take note. So guys, this is it. I have closed it up, as you can see. So right now I'm going to just carefully cut off the excess of the elastic waistband. Please, only the elastic waistband, because you don't want, when you are weaving it, to start becoming an issue for your weaving machine. So you have to cut out the excess of the elastic waistband. So guys, now that we have this, one more thing that is left to do is you're going to go ahead and stitch on the elastic waistband. You run like 1 or 2 stitches on it. So when stitching, you run 1 or 2 stitches around it. 2 is very beautiful, depending on how you want it. And when stitching it, you're going to, you know, stretch your pants like this, your waistband. You stretch it when you're running a stitch on it, and you can use your office pin to secure it. It also helps. Oh my god, it also helps. So this is it. I have run 2 stitches on it, and as you can see, it's looking so beautiful. This way the elastic waistband sits perfectly on your waist. So if you enjoyed this video, and if this video was helpful to you, please do what to hit the subscribe button, and also give this video a thumbs up. So guys, this is it. This is the short, and you can see how beautiful it is seated on my body. You can see the elasticity of the waistband and the pockets as well. So I also decided to pair the shorts with this beautiful vest or waistcoat. So if you want to know how to make a waistcoat or a vest, then there's a tutorial for that. There's a video for that on my YouTube channel, so I will drop the link to that video as well on the description box. I'll pin it on the comment section. So see you on my next video. Love ya. Bye. Ciao.